Hello, and welcome to this session where you learn how to organize your business using Notion. We're going to see that Notion is so much more than an app for just taking notes, and we can turn it into your business headquarters. So let's get started. Let me start this talk by telling you about the first time that I ever heard of Notion. So I was catching up with a friend who is an aspiring entrepreneur and is Argentinian like me. We were drinking mate, which is this drink that we have here, very common for Argentinians. It's just like a tea. So we were catching up, and then he was telling me about this digital marketing course that he was taking. And he said something that was mind blowing. So I told him, wait a second, I need to make a note of that. So I grabbed my phone and I start taking notes, open my notes app and start taking notes. And I'm almost done when he asks me, okay, which app are you using for notes? I just explained that I was using whichever app came pre-installed with a phone when I bought it. Like I didn't even know the name of this app. I was shocked. It was like, what? How come you're not using Notion? When my friend mentioned Notion, I didn't say this to him, but internally I thought, oh no, not another tool that I have to learn how to use. And that's a common feeling because we're overwhelmed by technology at times. So it's amazing, it makes our lives easier, but at the same time, we always need to learn more. There's always a new tool that you need to learn how to use, otherwise, you're missing out. So it's normal to have this kind of feelings. However, my friend did a really good job at selling Notion. So he mentioned it was great for organization, that it was so much easier to use than Google Docs, that it's a free tool, and that it was the best productive tool he had ever used. So, of course, I was intrigued and I installed it. Initially, I just started using it as a notes app. So I was just like writing affirmations, using bullets, like checklists, to-do lists, this all kind of things. But I knew that it was meant for so much more. Eventually, I started seeing the need to start learning about those more complex features. It's not like I went straight into learning about databases and like rollups and relationships and formulas and whatever complex Notion feature comes to your mind. So I'm telling you this because this is actually a good technique. So when you hear of a new tool, app, technology, whatever it is that you have to learn, you usually think, like people usually think that you need to be an expert before you can make use of it. But the truth is that you can enjoy the benefits of Notion without being an expert user. So just start like this cute beginner Notion user here and get comfortable with the tool, and little by little, when you see the need for it, then you go and you learn about the advanced Notion features. Okay, so we're going to use this framework of levels in this talk. So we're going to start with the beginner level. How can you use Notion to organize your business and turn it into your business headquarters? Then we're going to talk about internal systems. How can you create systems using Notion? We'll cover what a system is and how to create systems in Notion. And then we'll talk about the sharing part. So how do you share these systems with colleagues or with your customers as freebies? Yeah. Okay, so let's continue. We need to define what is Notion. So I would define it like a lot of the tools that you already know, like all these productivity tools like Google Docs and Trello. It's like they had a child, and that's Notion. That's how I would define it. So you can use Notion for a lot of different purposes. We'll see some of them right now. You can start using it to take notes. For instance, Every time I take a course, I have a Notion page, just like learnings from entrepreneurs. And there I put all the information that I've learned. So then I don't have to rewatch the course. I just check my notes. But you can also use it for organization purposes. For instance, this is how I organize my business. This is like my CEO dashboard, and I like it to be very minimal. So it has links to pages. We will learn how to do that in a bit. But I just have like different areas of my business and all the documents within it. But I don't want to have any information until I actually click on one of this, and then all the information is there. I also use it to track my habits. You could even like use it for habits related to your business, like podcasting. Are you creating content? Are you consistently doing, like, I don't know, one small technical task to improve your business, etc.? Then, if you use it to track like for project management and time tracking, you can create these cool charts where you can see where you're spending most of your time. And this one was a game changer for me because I was always busy. I was always working, but I was working in all the wrong things. And I could only see that after being able to see the data in this way. Then you can also visualize your data as a calendar. It is not a replacement for Google Calendar, but it's useful to visualize the data in this way sometimes. So I could keep talking about all the applications of Notion, and we could spend hours talking about all the different ways in which you can use Notion. The thing is that Notion is super flexible. So it's like a blank canvas. You decide what to put in it. But there's a catch. It's only as powerful as you know how to use it. But again, you can start small with the easier features and little by little level up. So I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Roxy, and I'm your tech bestie when it comes to your business. I will teach you in this talk the 20% of Notion features that you need to have the most impact in your business. Are you ready? Okay, let's go to the demo. There is no right or wrong way to do it. The idea is to adapt it to your business. So this is what I see when I open my Notion. Now we will create a new page. If you go to the top left, you'll see this icon. When you hover, it has a message, create a new page. So we're going to click it. And we see this. Let me just hide this. Like I will close the sidebar for a bit so that we only focus on this new page. So as a business owner, you have different areas in your business. We will call this like, I would call this my business headquarters. You can just put the name of your business here, whichever name that you prefer. Some people call this a SEO dashboard. Again, it's up to you. Now, in your business, you have a lot of different areas. So you have marketing, you have sales, you could have like client management, and here you have onboarding. So right now, I'm just brainstorming about how I can organize my business. So I just write all the things. So in marketing, I will click dash space, and then I will have like these bullets. So in marketing, you may have like content creation. You could have a list of hooks that you can use. You could have like copy writing strategies. You could have like Instagram inspiration. Again, depending on your business, you will have a lot of these things. So what I recommend is that you just put everything in here, just like an idea of every like type of document that you will need in your business. And once we have this, we can start organizing. So the idea is to turn that like brain dump into something like this. So first of all, I could have headings. Like a heading, if I highlight the text and I go to this like turn into, I can turn this text into a heading. And now it's just like easier to see it. Now we will have a lot of different headings. The sales ones will be another one. And then like client management and onboarding will be something that will be inside the client management. So now that I have like this idea, I could start writing like hooks here, like, I don't know, 10 tips to organize your business. You could start writing all your hooks here, for example. But it may come to a point where you will have a lot of information. So we don't want to have everything in one single page. So let's bring the sidebar back and I will create a new page. And I will call this like hooks. And then I will put all my hooks here. So initially it can be something just like the hooks, like 10 steps for how I did XYZ in 10 days. Okay, whatever. Eventually, this page can turn into something more complex where we'll have information like, was it successful or not? Like, this was a success, this was a fail. Like, again, this page can improve later on. So now, instead of having the content here, I could have the bullets. I will use the link to page, and then I will find that page hooks that I just created. So if you look at this, now every time I click on the hooks, it'll directly take me to the hooks page. And here I could simply add like a hook icon. If you want a different type of icon, you can click here and just change it. You also have it here. Let's see if we have a hook. Okay, it's not the same type of hook. I like the hook that we actually have, so I will not change it, but you get the idea. You can even upload your own icons. So to bring the sidebar back, I will just hover here on the top and then it will appear and I will go to my business headquarters. So see that I even have the icon here. So this is starting to look like what we had at the beginning and what we are trying to build. Now, you have to remember something about Notion, and that is that slash is your best friend. When you type slash, you see this menu here, and all the options of what you can do with Notion are here. So then we're going to type column, and then it filters all the options so that we can easily find what we're looking for. And I will select 3 columns, for instance. And now, if you notice, like it's a bit hard to see, but you have 3 columns here. And now you can just drag and drop by clicking on these dots here. You can drag and drop into the column. Okay, that didn't work as expected, but okay, now it worked. And then I will also drag the hooks, the link to the hooks page. But let's do the Instagram inspiration because that's a bit more interesting. So we're going to create a new page by clicking on this icon again, and we're going to call it Instagram inspiration. So let's imagine I'm doing market research. This is my own account. And then let's imagine that I like this account, like the colors, the content, whatever. And then I want to add it to my Notion. So I will go to my Instagram inspiration and then I use my best friend, the slash, and I will look for the embed. Here, I will paste my link and then it will just create this beautiful way of sorting the, like to link my account. So I will just like add another heading like interesting accounts. So this could be something that we want, right? But it may also happen that I liked, let's say, this post over here. So then I could take a screenshot of this. By the way, I use Command Shift S because I'm on Windows. So I just took a screenshot of that. I will go back to my Notion and then I could just have a different section, which will be like a heading. And then it will be like interesting content. Now I have an image, so I use the slash and then I type image, and I can actually embed an image. I could just search for an image here, but in this case, what I want is to upload my image. So I will click on upload, then I have to find it, and once I do, I click on open, and then I have this content that I liked. You can make it a bit smaller. You could even add like columns. So we'll add 2 columns, and then I will drag it over here. And let's say I also liked another one. So this one, for example, I will take a screenshot, and then I'll just go here and upload a second image. And I will make it a bit smaller. There it is. Until they're more or less the same size. I just deleted the blank line, and now they are equal. Cool. So then you can build this thing that you start collecting the content that you think is interesting. You could even add notes by pressing the dash on the list, so you can note what was interesting about it. So let's say the colors, the messaging, competitor, whatever it is, right? And let's just like copy this for this one, and then you can keep adding content. So this is starting to become something more useful. Let's go back to our business headquarters. Oh, and by the way, I will add it to my favorites by clicking on these 3 dots, add to favorites, so that it's easier to find. The business headquarters, I would like to change the icon. Okay, this one will do. And now we have the marketing, but now we have a new page. So let's link to it. I will click link to page, and then I will look for Instagram inspiration. Now, you may have a lot of different things here, and it may start to get a bit cluttered. So we could even add some toggles. So slash toggle, and then I could have like copywriting, and then just drag it inside of the toggle. Then we have like social media, and then I drag it inside, and I could have like ads, etc. And then when I click on this toggle, all the information related to this topic will appear. Maybe you only have like one page about marketing, and then it doesn't make sense to add this, and you will just simply link to the page here, and that's it. Now this is looking good. I personally don't like this blank space on the right. I think we could make better use for that. So let's see, I already have a column that we added before, and then I will simply drag the sales part and then drag this and just delete that blank line. And now we have better use of our dashboard space. So here we could keep adding like product, market analysis, project management, like the list of things we can add here. It's endless. It depends on what you need in your business. But we've basically seen a way to just have like all the information centralized in one place, and then you can click on the relevant page and have more information here. There are a lot of other things you can add to this page. For instance, you could like just add a table here, but instead of me like showing you every little step that is possible, I want to invite you to start playing with it. So you know that the slash is your best friend, and when you click on it, you start seeing all these options. So my recommendation is to look at it from a place of curiosity and a little bit of like playful vibe, and then just start seeing, okay, so if I add a table here, okay, I click on it, I have this option. So this could be like name, I don't know, Roxy, age 34, whatever. So then if you highlight the text, you can make it bold, you can make it italics, underline it. So just start playing with it around instead of just like watching an endless tutorial that will show you step by step what you can do. And that's it. If you have to remember only one thing from everything we've seen so far, is that Slash is your best friend when it comes to Notion. So that's all I had on organization. Let's move on to the next topic, and that is the internal systems. So you can start using Notion to create a system, but what is a system? A system is just a repeatable way to get something done without starting from scratch every time. That's how I would define it. And a system doesn't have to be complex. For instance, every time I have to record content, I struggle with a microphone configuration. So I have a simple system, okay? It's just a checklist. It's like a page in my Notion, and then it's just bullets on the things that I have to do to set up the microphone, like where I locate it, which filters I have to use. Like I use OBS for recording, and then you have to add these filters, and for some reason they always get misconfigured, and then I have to like tweak it a bit and add the filters like the expander, the compressor, and I'm not an audio engineer, so I struggle with it. And then I just have this simple system. It's like, okay, place the microphone with the tripod in front of you. Like, do not speak to it very closely. It should be cables free, nothing on top of the cables, and all these little things like what to tweak in the OBS, so that instead of watching a 30 minutes YouTube tutorial on how to do this, I just follow the steps and in 5 minutes, okay, it's done. That's a system. Very simple to do. Now, let's say you are a migraine coach and you want to give your audience or your customers like just a step by step do this when you have a migraine or a headache or whatever. Disclaimer, I'm not a health professional. This is just an example. And I just asked ChatGPT to give me a few things you can do when you're suffering from a migraine. And then it's like, okay, step one, just close your eyes, lie down in a comfortable position in a dark room without screens, whatever. And this may look very simple to you, but when you have the headache, when you feel really bad with yourself, like, oh, it hurts so much, you forget that you have to do these things, or you're like, okay, what's the point, the pain will never go away. But when you are like in this calm space, you know that before you, I don't know, meditated for a bit and the headache went away, so why not do that again? That's what a system is. So let's just go back here, and I just want to show you, like, if you press the slash, I will add like checkbox. And actually the feature is not called checkbox in here, it's called to-do list, but Notion is smart enough to know what I mean, so I will click it, and then instead of bullets I will have these checks that I can like just toggle and untoggle. Yeah, and this is amazing because maybe it can be something like, okay, uh recording content like hook, and it can be like visual, so visual hook, like written hook, like the title, etc. Like you could make this like step by step check, like, okay, do I have a hook when I record? Like, okay, what else? Like, do you have a CTA, for example, at the end of the video? So all of these things that you don't have to forget when you do a task that you repeat several times. And those systems were more on the easy side, but we will learn how to build something a little bit more complex. So in Notion, we have been working with pages. Now, let's take, for example, the sales part, or not even that, like the marketing. Let's go to the marketing, and here we could have something like pain points, just pain points, okay? I will go to create a new page, and here I will call it like audience pain points. That will be the name of this one. And in here, I want to understand all of the pain points that my audience has. So as we've seen before, you can start doing something like with the bullets, like, I don't know, I don't like funnels. This is just my niche. So tech overwhelms me. Or like, I don't have time to learn the tech. Yeah, okay. So on. You can write a list here. But then, how do we know what is the pain point that is the most frequent one? It's really hard to see from this because you have to read all of them and then like somehow in your brain calculate, okay, no. That's why we need a little bit more structure in this information. This that we're looking here, it's called a database in Notion. Wait, give me a second before you get overwhelmed. And I know it's a technical term and it can be scary, but a database, it's nothing more than a collection of structured data. So it's data that has a structure. What do I mean by that? So if we look at this example, in a database, this over here, it's called a column, and this over here, it's called a row. So the particularity that a database has is that all the data in a column has the same type. So in this example, we only have dates here. We don't have numbers, we don't have emails, we have dates. And that will be the case for every row in this database. And if we look at the column in their words, this is of type text. So I expect to have text here. Yeah, not dates like this, not numbers, just words. So instead of doing this, so instead of having just all the list of the pain points here, I would like to have more information. For instance, in which date did I collect this information? From where did I get it? Was it because I heard like my ideal client talking in a podcast, or was it because I spoke one on one with this client? Was it from a webinar? Like, the source should be something relevant to you. You could change these categories. And then what I'm going to do is to add a tag, a type of pain point to each of these words. So, for instance, we have procrastination here, it's twice. Now, the person will express that pain point in different ways. For instance, I kept dragging the technical tasks because each time I opened the empty Notion dashboard, like I felt a lot of anxiety and I couldn't move on. Okay, so that is like tech overwhelm and procrastination pain points all in one. But it could also be like I was procrastinating because I was scared of having to ask for help when I'm stuck. And again, it's like two different ways of expressing a pain point that has like two different um the impact that the pain point has on these people is different, but the pain point itself is the same. It's procrastination. So what I would like to do is to delete this, and I want to use a database. So I will use slash and then I will type database. There, we have two options here. We can inline the database or create it as a full page. It would just create another page if we choose full page. So let's do it. And then we have like this new page, which is a database, but let's go back. Something else, like let's delete this one. Something else that I could do is to create a database as inline, and then it will appear here as another element in my page. So let's try to replicate this so that we can get it into our Notion. So we have this blank, empty Notion page staring at us, and I know that it can be overwhelming, but stay with me for a second. When you, this is a little bit hard to see, I will zoom in a bit. So when we create a new database in Notion, we have this column here. There is no row. When we click on new page, we will add a new row, and here we will call this like row 1. If I add a new page, this can be row 2. Okay, so we only have one column, which is name. This column comes with Notion by default, and we cannot change the type. It will be text, but we can change the name of this column. So if I click on the column and then I have this name here, so this could be like observations, like notes, yeah, something like that. Now I have this, like I have 2 plus buttons, and we will talk about the first one later. Let's focus on this one. When I click on this one, it will add a new column. And we already saw, okay, let me zoom out. So then when we press the plus button here, we have this menu with all the different types of columns that we can add to this database. So here I know I want to add a date. So I will simply add a date. So what I have to do is to click on it, and then the calendar pops up, and then I just choose my date. And this way I can be certain that I will have dates here, not text, not numbers, just dates. Now, if you look at this, like I don't really like this format for date. So I will click on date, edit property, and then first of all, I don't care about having the time here, so just the date. So I will click on hide the time so it doesn't show. And then when you click on the date format, we have full date right now, but I prefer like month, day, year. And then this is the format my brain works with. And you see that it changed from the text to just the number, identifying the day and the month of the year. And then I can click it and drag it to the left because that's the first column that I want to add on my database. So yeah, we're done. No, we're not done, but we have made progress. Now I want to add a source. So if I go here and I add a source, it can be of type text, for example. I will click, call this source, and I will drag it because that's the second column in my database. And now I could write here like 1 1 1. So you see these 2 types are the same, but they are written in different ways. I would prefer to have like a drop down with options that I can select from. So instead of using the type text, I will edit the property and I will click, so here in the type, it's text right now, but I will change it to select. You see here that it automatically created these categories for me, but actually I don't want this, like these are basically the same. So I will select 1 1 here, and then I will click on the 3 dots and then delete to delete the one that it's not the right one. I can only select one, so if I change it like to webinar, for example, it will replace the category that we had. Now, I want to do something similar for the pain points. Now, the only difference is that one pain point could be related to different types. Like it could be talking about procrastination and tech overwhelm and maybe something else as well. So what I want to do is to add a new column. And if I click select, you will see I have 2 options. One is select, which is the one we used here for the source. But I can also use the multi-select that will allow me to use more than one value, basically. And then this multi-select, I will change it to pain point. And then I will drag it. And when I add here, like when I click to add a new value, so it could be like no time, procrastination. Wait, so one cool tip. Notion has some artificial intelligence mixed into it. So if we edit this property again, we'll see here AI autofill. And I will turn it on, and you can see that it has like a new option appeared, which wasn't there when the toggle was off. So generate options is not here. I turn it on, and then generate new options appear. So this means if I want the AI to generate new labels or just use the ones that I have here. In this case, it'll be no time or procrastination. This is up to you. I prefer to define the categories myself and then just have the AI to automatically decide on the category. So let's say, okay, I'll need to turn this notes into in their words. And then this can be something like, I have no time to work on the funnel tag. And then the procrastination could be, I've been postponing building my website for years. Yeah. So something like this. Now I will delete the no time, for example. And if I click on this magic icon, it will select one of the two categories and the AI chose no time. So it works really well. But I have the free plan, for example, and you only have a few credits to test these AI features. But it's something to have in mind if you have the paid plan. So here you could even include something like who said it. So we could add another select and it could be like client. And then here we can put like, I don't know, Sarah said this and John said this other thing, for example. So then I may want to have like the Instagram of Sarah and John. So let's say I add a new URL field. URL is like basically a link. And when I click on it, I will rename this to like Instagram profile. And then I can paste it here. And then when I click, it will take me to the Instagram of the person. Let's just click this. And that's basically it for now. Like we've created this database. Let's just hide this title for now so it looks a bit nicer. And then I will rename this to log. Like this is just a log of the pain points that my audience has. It has this label, and that's where the magic comes in. But what if we could analyze that information in a way that it gives us the count of like how many rows do we have for each pain point type. And this way we can easily see, like if we have like 100 pain points in our log, we can easily see the counts to see which one is the most frequent one. So before we go into this, I know this is getting harder and harder. The thing is that if you look at this, this is not even sorted. So this is not like the full automation. The full automation to do this and sort it is a little bit more complicated. It will need different databases, linking those databases and using rollups to get the count. But don't worry, I want to introduce the concept of partial automation. So the way that we're going to do it right now is like a middle ground where you have the counts, but they are not sorted. So something I've seen my clients struggling with is that they go from no automations at all or fully automated. So like no systems at all, or they want everything, like the computer doing everything for them. And that's not the right way to do it, in my opinion. The right way to do it is to automate as you need to improve your systems as time goes by. But you don't need to start with a system that, like, let's say you have this system with AI and it I don't know, color codes your calendar, like all beautiful, but then you have no product to sell. Well, no, we don't want that. We want a balance. So there is a time in your business when to automate, when not to automate. And it also depends on like how much time you have, what's your, in this case, Notion knowledge level. So let's see how we can do something like this. Notion has this cool feature, like this is the database. And if I click on this plus, so remember we have two plus and we mentioned we were going to talk about the first one later on. Okay, this is that time. So when we click here, you add a new column, but when you click on this one, you add a new database view. So a database view is basically a different way that you can visualize the same data. So the data will always be this. It'll be the same, but we're going to visualize it in different formats. For instance, if I click the calendar view, you'll notice here that in our log we have two dates, like 9th of April and 10th of April. And then here I see events like a row, 9th of April and 10th of April. So this, what information can I get from this view? So this view is useful to know, for instance, how frequently are we getting data from the people? So basically, how frequently are we talking to our ideal clients, customers, to understand their pain points? So 2 days in a row, we got data. And then the rest of the month, we didn't do anything. For instance, if this was the full month. Each view gives you some data, like data insights in a different way. So if I create a different view and I choose the table view, now in theory it looks like it's the same than our log and that is not very useful. But you could have, for instance, if we click on the three dots here, there is this group option. And when you group, you could group, okay, 1 second. First, let's add some more data points here because otherwise we will not be able to visualize what this is doing. So like XYZ, and Sarah said this, and then like on this date on a webinar, procrastination, and like I don't know, anything else, right? So like just anything. It doesn't really matter at this point for our example. But if I go to my table, you'll see that although I added the data in this one, it got replicated to this one because this is just a view. Now we will change how we view that data. And I will choose the group by, and I will group by the pain point. Yeah. And if you see here, it grouped the data by no time and procrastination, which are our two pain points. Now, if we click on the three dots here, it says show aggregation. And if we click on this button, it shows the count of how many rows we have for this pain point. And that's exactly what we were looking for. If I toggle this, then I just have the counts that I was looking for. So it's easy to see from this view that procrastination is the main pain point my audience is facing for these data sets that we invented. I could do exactly the same for the source and I will get the same data. You also have different options like chart and lists and timeline. You can play around with those. The charts are, you have only one free chart on your free plan. Otherwise, you need to upgrade to be able to use more charts. But this is basically how we use databases to get more insights from our data. So if this is easy to do when you have like three different pain points that our audience gave us, like in this example. But after you talk to your audience for months, you will want to have something like this to know, like from the 200 rows with all the pain points, which is the most frequent one. So we've covered how to organize your business with Notion. We've talked about systems that they can be simple and more advanced, like the database we just finished building. So let's imagine that this system was amazing, that I'm loving it, and I want to share it with my audience, either as a freebie that they can sign up to, or just give it to them when they buy my course or whatever. So in this case, we will need to do like the first time that we do something like this, we need to go. So if we want to share this template, we're going to click on the share button and then we're going to publish it. And then we're going to click on publish again. And you'll notice that this there's this link we can copy in here. I click on it and it says that the link was copied to the clipboard. And when I click on view, I come to this view of the template. So this is what we created. We can see it, but I cannot change anything. This is like a view only because the idea is that your client sees this template and they're like, okay, yeah, this is what I need. And then they click on the duplicate or copy button, like this one right here on the top right. And then it gets moved to their own Notion workspace. So you've now learned the minimum features that will allow you to maximize the impact Notion can have in your business. That's so exciting. I'm so excited for you. But there are so many more things you can build with Notion. So this is completely out of scope for today, but I want to show you what is possible. This one here is a template I did for a client of mine. So basically this is his freebie. This is a time tracking template. So every time you add a row here, the start time gets complete like added automatically. And then he starts working on it. When he's ready, like the task is ready, he clicks on the done button and it will calculate here the amount of time that it took him to finish with this task. So this client had the paid version, so I made a lot of charts for him where he could have different views of this time tracking data. Basically, in this one here, we can see the top tasks that took the most of his time. So I have the template here in Notion, and basically we have the calendar feature and we have per day. So he knows per day how much time he worked, same per week, and same per task. And this one here is mind blowing because if you tag each task by the corresponding tag, like marketing or sales, you can then understand how much time you're spending on your marketing efforts, on your sales efforts, and then adjust. If you're working, let's say, too much on marketing, you're not doing any sales, then you need to adjust. This one here is like mind blowing. So something to look out for in Notion. So this one here is my own time tracking system. And it's different than the one from my client because I work differently. So I used his template for some time because I was testing it and it just didn't work for me because in that template, you only have the things that you're currently working on. But in this template right here, every time I think of like, okay, I need to send an email to this person, it just comes here as a new task. And then it's not all the things that I'm currently working on. But then when I'm ready to work on them, I click on start and then the status gets changed to in progress and the time gets logged automatically. Then when I click on end, it changes the status to done. And then same as before, it calculates the amount of time I took to achieve this task. And then you can create different charts or grouping the data to basically see where you're spending your time. So I know this may have been a lot. I don't want to overwhelm you. So let's just recap everything that we've covered today. Notion is a tool that can replace several of the tools that you are using right now. But there is a catch. Remember, it's a blank canvas and you have to create your own templates. There is a workaround in this. You can just download the templates from other people, either paid or free. And it's a powerful tool, but you don't have to be an expert in it before you start using it. So you become the expert by using the tool. So it's okay if you just take it, if it's okay if you just use it for taking notes, that's fine. You will level up with time. Don't overcomplicate your systems. Just remember, partially automated is good enough at the beginning. So if you have something like this and it's not sorted like in the right, because to do the version here in the right, yes, it's possible, but it will take more time. You need to understand databases at a deeper level, and it may be overwhelming right now, but that's okay. You can start with partially automated systems. And I've been talking a lot about automation, and I haven't said exactly what that is. So let's just get that clear. An automation is basically having a computer do a task for you. And it's usually a task that you don't like doing manually, it's very error prone, or it just takes too much time to do. and then it's useful for the computer to do it for you. So you get more time. Now, the automations can be very simple, like micro automations. It doesn't have to be just Notion. There are a lot of different tools to automate processes in your business. But they can also be very complex, like the time tracking sheet or just project management tools, but that's okay. Remember, you can use the template. So that's pretty much it. Templates can be your shortcut to success. I will not repeat it again, but Notion is free. So if you see the power of that this tool can bring to your business, why not try it out? That's all I had for today, and I would love to hear in the comments if this talk inspire you to use Notion. If you're like, no, Notion is not for me, I'm not going to use it, or if you're energized and you want to start using Notion in your business, let me know in the comments where are you going to use it for. Thank you so much. Until we meet again in the next video.